The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on the break!
with Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
Hey guys, welcome back to The Break. I have Nick, Dave, and then here's me, but we're still waiting on Derek. He's supposed to come over here in a little bit, so
When you're a vice
see.
president, stuff happens.
You got into the intro quickly, not a whole lot of rigmarole. I like it. I'm ready for it.
Episode so-and-so.
Nope. No.
Season so-and-so.
Episode 2,
Okay.
which used to be Greg Zerline, but it isn't anymore, and it won't be.
Well,
Wait, way to go. It's true.
And then
You're
boom,
right.
Let's move on.
We're in here. Let's go.
we're in here. Well, a lot has happened since the last time we did the show. We have Stephen Jones who has talked. We have Jerry Jones. Also, Mike McCarthy spoke to the media. So a lot of things have happened. Owners meeting. Dave, you just came back from the trip. So a lot of different subjects. But I wanted to start off with, real quick, because I am fed up with the subject and
Oh, boy.
I'm ready to move on. No, it's nothing major.
Okay.
Randy Gregory, Amari Cooper. This is the first time we kind of hear comments from them.
Yeah.
So just wanted to ask you guys, is there anything else that we should talk about in regards to that whole situation, or are we finally ready to kind of move on from that, at least until the season starts and we see
Okay,
what happens?
I'm glad you said that because I think that's what it is the lines have been drawn between the two sides of this argument. And yeah, talking to everybody in the Cowboys front office, I mean, that's the line, the spin, if you're a more pessimistic sided person, the spin is that the Cowboys took the savings from those two players and invested it in a bunch of other guys. And I think the counter to that is, yeah, but who? Are they as good as the guys that you lost? And to your point, it's almost not worth arguing about until we start playing games, and we'll have some bodies of work to compare to. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how Randy and Amari do with their new teams and to see how that stacks up with what the Cowboys do.
Yeah, don't you have this feeling?
Let me ask you this, Nick. Going back to what Dave just said and about, the price and what you got for and all that, and the players, the amount of players that you got. Jerry Jones got criticized a lot on social media by a lot of people by saying a comment like that. But you were one who kind of mentioned it, and you got on Twitter and you got criticized too about kind of the two options. This was the player that you were going to get versus, well, now you got all these other players.
Yeah, and I didn't get criticized by everybody. There's a lot of people that thought that was a good plan. I mean, basically what I said is they took this money from Randy and they basically got 4 guys. They got 4 guys that they signed for cheaper. In this particular case, I liked that one better. I liked it better because I think Dorrance Armstrong and Fowler, I'd rather have those 2 guys than to have Randy. Because I don't think Randy is as dynamic as everyone says, and I'd rather have the 2 guys. You're going to get a little bit more production out of it. Plus Leighton, plus James Washington, 2 players that were high draft picks that you hope maybe can turn it around. So I'd take those 4 over 1. Not in every case, but in this case, yes.
And that's how the Cowboys front office feels too. And Jerry's direct quote was, "We got 3 top players with the savings." And the response on social media was like, "Looking for these players. Which 3 are we talking about here?"
Yeah, Jaron Kearse from last year. I mean, that's another thing you got to remember. Everyone was like, "Hi, Derek."
Hi.
Sorry. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Let's get you included here.
We're talking about Amari Cooper
Yeah.
and Randy Gregory, the comments that were made. We're kind of ready to move on from that subject, but wanted to see if there is anything else that you maybe want to comment on, get off your chest before we put a pause on that.
I'm kind of torn on this one because, on the one hand, I get the idea that Randy, although Randy was a promising player, and I've said this on this show before, you look at his numbers and his production year over year and the fact that he hasn't completed a single season in his career. Like, there are lots of things that make you say it still was a projection. You still were hoping at some point that Randy would become a premier pass rusher in this league. He has not done that yet. But at the same time, I hear the comments about we got 3 players, 4 players, whatever. I don't know. It seems a little hollow to me just because the way I look at it is I think everybody here, I'm talking about everybody in this building, wanted to sign Randy. It wasn't like they were making the decision, we're going to pass on Randy to go get these 3 or 4 guys. They wanted Randy. It just didn't work out. So the consolation prize was you get these 3 or 4 guys. So from that standpoint, I think that's right. I just don't think that's how it's being said right now. And I take a little bit of, I take a little different opinion on that. That was just the consolation. You can get 3 or 4 guys, but I think everybody wanted Randy, as everybody's admitted. Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing, and I say this every year. I say about building your team. I think the Patriots do it very well about the 1 to 53, having good depth all across the board. If you keep Randy and if you keep Amari Cooper, okay, what does the rest of your roster look like? Are you okay with that? It's not a James Washington. It's not a Dante Fowler or Dorrance Armstrong. It's not. It's Bradley Anae, who's not. I don't even know if he's in the league.
Plays for the Jets.
Okay, well, okay, close. So I'm just saying. So if you do all that, who are the guys that you're getting? Are you fine with that?
Well, my question is, are we sure that if you got Randy, you couldn't get Dorrance Armstrong, or you couldn't get James Washington, or you couldn't get
Dorrance? No, Fowler and Washington could be here if Randy was here.
So if you got Fowler, and you had Randy Gregory, and you had D-Law, and you had James Washington, is that I think that's pretty good.
Okay, who's blocking on the offensive line? I mean,
we still got that problem right now. That hasn't changed.
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, it's a whole scope. It's you're getting these 2 guys and you're keeping them, but I mean, are you want to be? I'm sorry, I'll say it. You want to be Washington forever? You just want to be get these top frontline guys, and then you have arena league players at the bottom? I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. I don't think that that's necessarily how it has to work, because as we just said,
got to fill out the roster.
But let's not act like Dorrance Armstrong is that's not the difference maker here.
No,
if you're getting Dante Fowler and you're getting Randy Gregory, I think that is better than getting Dante Fowler and Dorrance Armstrong.
I don't think you're going to get that. I don't think you can get both guys. You wouldn't try to get both guys.
And Fowler's deal is worth like $3 million.
That's the point. Is that how many skinny pass rushers do you need? I mean, how many guys do you need like that? You're not going to get another Dante Fowler. I mean, Randy Gregory got you 17 tackles last year.
Okay, so
how many is Fowler?
But let's say we back away from that.
30 pressures.
Let's say that.
Sacks.
Let's say you got. Let's say you got Dante. Let's say you get Randy Gregory. Let's say they got Randy Gregory, and let's say that their third guy was going to be Golston. Do you not think Golston can be Dorrance Armstrong?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so your defensive ends now, they look pretty good, right?
Okay, so what are you arguing?
I don't understand. I guess what I'm arguing
is, if you get Randy Gregory and you get Amari Cooper, then what else?
Yeah, I think what I'm arguing is, it sounds like what you're saying is if you got Randy Gregory, then you can't get all these other pieces. You're basically stuck with Bradley and I don't think that's necessarily the case.
So what are they doing?
They still had money. I mean, they got rid of Amari Cooper. They still had money.
Okay.
So they still could have had Leighton Vander Esch. They still could have had James Washington. They still could have done a lot of the things they've already done if they would have signed Randy Gregory, right?
No.
All right.
I mean,
okay.
But argue it then.
I mean, they still have cap space right now.
So what do you think they're doing then?
I have no clue. I don't, honestly.
So you think they got all this money? They just kept it because they want to keep it.
They want the long-term health of their cap to be good, but that doesn't help me in 2022. It doesn't make the team any better.
And aren't they still getting $10 million in June from
Lyle? Yeah.
So that'll take care of your draft picks, right? So I mean, all I'm saying is, and we've seen this throughout the league. The people you want to keep,
right,
you can keep. There's a way to do it. Right. There was even talk out there, which I don't know if this is true or not, but there was talk out there that there was a possibility they could have redone Amari's deal, and maybe Amari would have been open to it, and they could have done it in a way to where it would have been a lot less of a hit on their cap, still saving them a ton of money. Right, so all I'm saying is there was a way to do it.
Yeah, they could definitely have kept Amari.
Right.
They didn't want to.
They didn't want
to keep Amari.
That's the point. No. They didn't want to. So it's not about the cap, I don't think.
Right.
And it's not about the money. I think they can make the money work, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's more about who do they want and not want. And that's a whole different conversation.
Well, I really thought this was going to be something.
Yeah, you're like, we're going to touch on this briefly and move on to something else.
Move on quickly, but one thing we know is what they do have currently. That's what it is. We can talk about different scenarios, but this is the reality of what they currently have. So I wanted to ask you guys about what are some other priorities on the team, position-wise. Steven, Jerry, they've talked about the O-line. We know what's there. They need guard. They need a tackle. We also heard about the kicker. You know, they want to add a veteran guy that could come in. They did want to sign Greg Sirlin back, but he ended up going with the Jets. So what they look like right now, what is another position that you guys think of as a priority and high need, whether it's I'll say mainly free agency right now before we head into the draft?
I mean, in free agency, they need a kicker. They're not shy about saying that. I think they need to do something about their offensive line, again, just to cover themselves. I don't think they'll bring in another receiver, but I think this team desperately needs one. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I think I'd be surprised to see them bring in a veteran. I don't know if there's anybody left that is really worth the money, but they need one in the top 100. I mean, Stephen Jones said yesterday, they're optimistic about Michael Gallup, but they have to prepare for the very real possibility that he misses as much as like 2 or 3 games, first month of the season, basically. What does that leave you with if he's not available? Right now, it would be Simi Fehoko and guys that were on the practice squad last year as guys that would have to play like meaningful snaps for you. So, yeah, they got to do something about that.
Offensive line, for sure. I mean, you got to get O-line. You got to get it sounds like even a tackle is in play here, like a swing tackle type guy. Should be, yeah, because he's going to have to start for you a few games, and you know that. So, offensive tackle, center, guard. I mean, once again, their problem at center is not the same that I would have at center. I mean, I'd have a bigger problem at center at that position than they do.
Well, you're saying you would evaluate that as a bigger problem than they do.
I have evaluated that as a bigger problem, and we talked about it a lot. Yeah. And they want to see this out. And I'll say this: I would have been shocked if you would have told me a year ago that Terrence Steele would end up playing enough to pretty much knock La'el Collins out of a job. I would have been like, no way.
Do you disagree with that decision, though? I mean, like, based on what you saw of
No, I don't disagree with the decision, so I'm saying I was wrong about that. They stuck with him. They've developed him, and they think the same thing's going to happen with Biotish. And you know what? If that's the case, I mean, I'm not seeing it.
When you look at how the priority on other positions, like guard or even swing tackle, I think that's where the issue comes. It's like, who do you put first? Like, you're not giving that much attention to center when you have all these other positions that are a lot higher as far as need.
I'll keep saying it. Like, I'm not trying to convince anybody that Tyler is Travis Frederick, but it's not this 5-alarm fire that I think a lot of people think it is to me. Because if they upgrade the left guard, if Tyler Biotish is playing between 2 badasses instead of him and Connor Williams forming a weak link of substantial size, I think he could be fine. Again, probably not an all-pro, but if right now, especially shockingly, they haven't done anything. They have not brought in a veteran who can play right now, and so you're saying, what would I rather come out of the draft with? A badass left guard or a better center? I need the guard. I don't want to start Connor McGovern again. We did that. No, thank you.
So you'd rather just have Biotish at center with a first round guard, yes, probably, than a first round center, and then
whatever you're stuck with a guard. Yes, yeah, and that gets into a fun draft conversation because I think Tyler Lindenbaum, the center out of Iowa, is a better player than a guard that you would get in the first round, but they don't have anything, and that's I think they're crazy if they go into this draft without signing a guard, and they're running out of options. I mean, we joked last week. Feels like a month ago already, but Will Hernandez is off the market now. Ethan Posick is off the market now. Eric Flowers is still there, but like the list of names is dwindling in terms of. Are you though? Like, okay, I hate that this is coming out of my mouth, but Eric Flowers has started a lot of football games. I would at least like to have somebody in here who it's like, well, he's played NFL football.
Eric Flowers, to me, is very similar to those other guys that have played over the years that you drafted high because you like them and you have to make them a tackle. Mm-hmm. But in reality, Leonard Davis was a guard.
Yeah.
And he was a bust in Arizona, but he was a guard and he was an all-pro.
Yeah.
Robert Gallery from the Raiders, same thing.
Yep.
He goes to guard. You draft them because they're big and they're strong and they're second round. First round you got to be a tackle. But in reality, Eric Flowers was a better guard.
Honestly, I think both of you guys are saying similar things. Basically, you're saying I can't have 2 weak links. Like I can't have center and guard be weak. So give me one. Give me if you can upgrade
Chris Jones
one of
from
them.
the Chiefs is like, I'm gonna rush. Here.
Yeah, right. If you can give me one of them, if you can fix one of them, then the other one becomes negligible.
And I've got maybe not negligible, but less of a problem. And I've got more faith in Tyler to continue to improve and be a quality starting center than I have faith in what we saw at the left guard position last year.
To be honest with you, the only area I had a real problem with Tyler Biadasz was when he was facing the really good, big, strong defensive tackles that were lining up right over him and basically just overpowering him. We saw it in week 1 when he played Vita Vea. Like that was just he's not going to win those kinds of matchups. And I don't know if these are anything he's going to do over time. Maybe he figures out how to play with more leverage, whatever that might be. But how many of those guys are in the league? You don't face those every week. So I do think that for a guy like Tyler Biadasz, you probably can, for lack of a better way to put it, hide him a little bit more if you have a really good guard. And so I would probably enter the draft thinking the best guard or center I got available to me is probably the guy I'm going to take. And either one, I'm willing to do that if I can then, kind of make do at the other position.
Go
But
ahead.
if the best position on offensive line is a tackle,
You're going to take that too.
they're going to do it.
Because, by the way, like you said, he's going to have to play some right now, and he's probably going to be playing a lot in future years.
And I'm going to go back 20 years or so, 25 with Flozell Adams, or I'll go back a few years with Lyle Collins. If I can get the tackle that can play guard for me right now, then I want that guy. Because then eventually he can slide out the tackle. But if he's good enough to play guard right now and then eventually the tackle, that's what I want.
Who's that guy, Dave?
In this draft, probably Trevor Penning. At least among the elite guys. The problem, I don't know how long he lasts. I don't know if he gets to you at 24.
Northern Iowa?
Yeah. The other guys are tackles. Well, obviously they can do whatever. It won't matter because they won't be there. You're probably.
Wasn't there an A&M guy that they say plays
Kenyon
all
Green.
5 positions?
Yeah, no, he plays 4 of the 5. He doesn't play center. Yes, okay. If he should be on your short list of draft prospects to consider
How good
again.
is he though?
He's
We got
good.
someone that can play so many.
I don't like
I'm
when you start talking through your teeth.
No,
Like-
he is a good player.
Okay.
He is a good player, and you should be happy to draft him. But he's not Zach Martin.
I was
That's all I
asking-
mean.
Okay.
When,
I was
like,
asking-
I don't know if he's that rookie Pro Bowler, but I
He'd be
think
going a lot sooner if he was Zach Martin.
he would be
so,
well, Zach went 16th. Guard's not a valued position in the
I
draft.
get it, but 24, you're probably not going to get the same quality as 16, right?
No, never.
Right.
I don't
We're
want to.
talking about 16 is where it's kind of what I've heard is kind of that's the cutoff of what first round grades
but-
typically are right around that area.
There are 16 to 18 first round grades,
Yeah.
but somebody's going to be dead ass wrong. Justin Jefferson was picked 24.
But we know they're exceptions.
I'm just saying, no, but
But
Travis Frederick was
guard-
picked 31. You can, this stuff fluctuates all over the
there
place.
are teams that won't take a guard or center. They just won't do it. So therefore, that's why you get good value there. Now, I was asking Rob Phillips, who's obviously a big Texas A&M fan, and he went there.
I'm just messing with
Yes,
I like giving
he
Rob
is.
a hard
He
time.
is
'Cause he just doesn't do all the stupid
And I was
stuff
like,
they do.
what was happening at their pro day? Did they do it like on a pasture? I don't know. Kenyon Green did not have a good pro day. Spiller didn't run well. Weidemeyer ran like me.
Yeah.
It just didn't go. But those are good football players.
Yeah.
I don't care if Kenyon Green ran 5.2. He's not going out for a pass. He's a guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do care that Weidermeyer ran
too.
when he ran, though.
Me too.
Those aren't the same.
No, that's what
That's the
I'm saying.
tight end, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he should just run it with shoes on. I don't know what happened. He's a good football player. Spiller too, man. I'm telling you, if you get in the second round, Spiller's there.
I keep hearing people talk about the tight end as, a possibility. I just don't see that as big of a problem as some people do. What do you guys rate that as far as talk about offensive line, we talked about receiver. Where does tight end rate for you guys in that?
Who's your
that
tight end
landscape?
next year?
A pretty big need.
I don't know yet.
There you go.
Okay.
Maybe I'll draft him next year.
That's what
I got one this year.
a position where it takes 2 to 3 years for a guy to be a viable
Jason
player.
Witten caught 35 passes his rookie year. Didn't start all the games. He was pretty good. He's
Dalton
working his
Schultz
way in.
had 9 career catches going into his 3rd season.
I get it.
You're signing up for that on purpose.
No, I'm saying in the landscape of, and this was the question, in the landscape of the other problems, where does it fall? It does not meet the threshold of what I feel like I need on the offensive line or at wide receiver.
Yeah, but the thing
That's not what I said. I mean,
I know, but I'm saying that was my question.
there's a hierarchy of needs. I think they need to draft a tight end in this class, preferably not with one of those picks. There isn't a tight end that's worth it.
But
fourth round, right where Dalton Schultz was drafted. Let's go.
One of the big differences between what they do and what the fans do and what some media do, and we do it here, is that we're looking at how it's going to look week 1 this year. And they are thinking, we've got to figure this out because Schultz is going to be gone next year or Zeke's going to be gone. You know, they're already doing that. So they have to draft that way. When we kind of look at it from a depth chart standpoint, like, this plugs in here. I'll worry about next year. And they don't do it.
Are we sure they're not going to do a long-term deal with Schultz?
No, we're not sure about that, but they're not sure that they are. I mean, what did Steven's answer yesterday when you were there?
I wouldn't bank on it. I mean, not saying that they won't. I don't. It's not like Dak where you're like, it's getting done. Don't stress out
I just don't
about
think it's
it.
a priority for them.
We'll see what happens. I mean, it depends on what he's willing to settle for, what the money looks like.
He needs to take his game up a little more too. He's got good stats. I mean, fantasy owners are going to take him because he's getting drafted, and I mean, he's getting catches and he's getting touchdowns, but he's got to get above that 9-yard average. He's got to be a little bit more dynamic. Catch the ball, get up the field, and do some things. He does it some, but I think he needs to be more that guy, not Travis Kelce, but be a poor man's Travis Kelce.
I want to go back to what I said about Green real quick because I don't want anybody to misinterpret me. He is a good player, and drafting him at 24 would be good. The reason I gritted my teeth is because I think there's a high likelihood that a better player will be there.
Yeah.
And that's
A
how
better offensive lineman?
No, a better football
better
player.
That's-
Jamison Williams or Traylon Burks could be sitting there at
That's
24.
the question.
Derek Stingley could be sitting there.
Right.
Shoot, with all the smoke we're hearing right now, Kyle Hamilton, who people say is one of the best safety prospects of the last decade, could slip.
Why would he slip?
Because his measurables don't match up with what you want from a guy that you're taking where people think he's going to be taken.
But his film looks great.
His film's fantastic.
Give me that guy.
that's so
I could
weird.
give me that guy. I don't care about his measures.
The point is,
give me that guy. If he can play, give it to me.
there are like 8 prospects, and by the way, none of the guys at the top of this draft compare to like last year.
Yeah.
I mean, this ain't that, but there's like 8 prospects that everyone feels pretty confident are going to go at the top of the draft, and they're mostly tackles and edge rushers.
Offensive or defensive tackles?
Offensive. And then after that, it's a freaking free-for-all. Like, it's all beauty in the eye of the beholder. Derek's. I don't think it'll happen. Derek Stingley
That
could
seems
slip.
very uncommon. Like, you study draft every year.
This,
How
I don't
uncommon is
remember.
that?
I don't remember a draft like this where there aren't. First of all, there aren't any quarterbacks to like anchor the top of the draft, and then everybody's got a different opinion about everything. And it's funny because the top 10 is like as unsexy as it's ever been. But then 11 through 40 is like, he's good. And that's why, like, it's borderline alarming that they haven't signed a guard because I'm like, don't do this. Like, don't pencil yourself into drafting Kenyon Green because you have to when George Karlaftis could fall to you at 24, and now that's a guy that could start at right end on the defensive side of the ball day one, and we don't have to argue about Randy Gregory and Dante Fowler. It's just something to think about.
Yeah.
We do need to take a break.
Do we?
Yes, we do. Sorry, you're the boss, but we do.
Gotta pay the bills.
Yeah, but even though we're talking about the draft, when we come back, I do want to take it back to free agency. Some of the free agent guys are still out there. Mike McCarthy made a comment about the Cowboys kind of waiting it out and seeing what's going to happen. But time's ticking, and time is running out before the draft gets here. So we'll see when we come back after the break who else is still available out there and who the Cowboys might be able to bring here.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys? Jack Black. Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Back to the break.
All right, well, I've done this 47 times. Let's do it one more time here before WrestleMania actually gets here to AT&T Stadium, April 2nd, April 3rd, Saturday and Sunday of this week. WrestleMania comes to AT&T Stadium. You can get your tickets on SeatGeek.com. The official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium. And I'm glad I did that because this is not your day to say welcome back.
Yeah, sorry.
It's a habit. It's okay. It's
It
okay.
absolutely is.
Welcome back, guys. Episode blah, blah, blah.
2. We talked about it already.
You did?
It's episode 2.
It is episode 2. That should be really easy for you. Yeah.
Which means number 2 is also going to be a number that probably a lot of players will want to get if they haven't already.
Is 2? Does 2 elicit that from players? Like, does anybody want 2?
I think so. I've heard
2 looks cool.
Kelvin Joseph told me at Media Day last year, I want that deuce.
Oh, okay.
And I think he was talking about jersey number also. Yeah. He was talking about jersey
Otherwise,
number.
he can go get it whenever he wants it, right?
Yeah.
2's cool. I think of like 1 and 7. And
Dion made 2 cool.
I was going to say 2 looks cool. I like 2. I think it looks good on a jersey.
Yeah. I think that was my number when I hurt myself playing the flag football, number 2.
My guy, Aaron Brooks.
All right. Well, let's talk about free agency. What's left of free agency and some of the guys that are still available. Mike McCarthy's comment didn't sit well with me, to be honest. But we don't have to comment on that. It's okay.
You should stop him the next time he's walking through our area and be like, we need to talk.
Wait, which one?
Yeah,
what did he
right.
say that made you mad?
No, not mad. It's just annoyed. Just hearing when, they're being patient and they're waiting things out. That type of thing. That type of mentality. But I guess we'll see how it does play out for them. But as far as some of the guys that are still available, I wanted to ask you guys, are there any names that you are still thinking as a possibility for the Cowboys, or maybe someone that you guys personally would like them to bring? And also comment on what happened with the whole Bobby Wagner situation and why it's kind of Stephen Jones kind of closed down the door on that, basically.
Well, you see, Bobby Wagner's really, really good at football and commands a salary as such. And I think I thought it was kind of funny. The way Steven worded it, he was like, it just didn't work out with us.
It's almost like he signed somewhere already.
Literally, you're sitting there, you're holding your recorder, kind of looking at your phone, and I'm simultaneously Googling, did Bobby Wagner sign and I missed it?
Google news.
I did the exact same thing. I heard it and I was like, I
looked it up and I'm like, nope, he sure hasn't. Steven just knows he ain't bringing his price down to what the Cowboys are willing to pay.
Right.
That's all. That's it.
But we all knew this. I mean, when he became available, the first thing we all did was probably could it be? And then we all thought to ourselves, yeah, that's not the kind of free agency.
You know what, though? Okay, I don't want to give anybody false hope about Bobby Wagner. I don't think that's happening. But that ties back into the Mike McCarthy thing about being patient. And he brought up Andy Dalton as an example of this stuff evolves. Even now, the market is still going to evolve. Andy Dalton signed in Dallas after the draft once he had seen who still needs a quarterback, because that changed during the draft.
Yeah.
Other stuff will change. They might wait to do some of this. Honestly, I got to be honest. The wide receiver market is a little more intriguing than I thought it was. Like, there are still some interesting names out there. I mean, Jarvis Landry, again, not a guy that's probably going to sign here,
but would love him to.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry. I promise I'm not just naming LSU guys, but Odell's still out there as well.
Well, he's coming off that injury.
And
I don't know
doesn't do anything for the Cowboys because they already have an ACL guy.
Yeah.
But is this the
Look,
right mentality?
as we're talking about that, name pops up on the board.
Yeah.
Cole Beasley remains free agent.
Don't think that's going to happen, but
I don't think so.
But is this the right kind of approach to have at this point and after last season? And also, could this be something that you do see some of those names kind of their prices start dropping and the Cowboys do grab them? Or at least one.
That's the thing I always say of like no, I don't necessarily agree with it. Especially, and so what I was gonna say is like the guard and tackle market looks it looks pretty dire. Not to be a naysayer, but like Eric Flowers and Trey Turner are probably the most interesting names, and then everybody else is somebody that you associate with not being very good. Billy Price. Quentin Spain, who was part of the Bengals line that tried to get Joe Burrow killed.
Is Dwayne Brown still out there?
Dwayne Brown is still out there. There are a few. No, I can't say I love it because, you're right. They're literally just like, well, if you're still out there, you can sit out there and maybe you'll readjust your expectations the longer you go unemployed. Like that's what's happening here, in my opinion. And I've always said that. Like, I don't think they need to be spending the silly money on the first 2 days of free agency. But there's more they could be doing. And going back to what we were talking about at the top of the show, they still have money. Mm-hmm. And they're going to get more. Yeah, like they can handle the draft class with the money they get from Lyle in 2 months. There's more they could have done with it. And in a couple of cases, it looks like almost too little too late at this point, which sucks.
I think if we actually broke down on a sheet of paper of like the money that they're saving with all the guys that they got. I don't think I don't mean to bring this back up, but I don't think they could have done all of that. And that's just the approach that they took.
Yeah.
You add it all up, all the guys, Curse and everybody, just and it's hard for us to do it because the way it's structured. Yeah. We can keep saying $14 million for Randy, but it wasn't going to be $14 million the first year. That wasn't how they had it structured. So that's not. You can't even say that. You can't even say that they saved 14 this year because he probably was going to count like 7 or 8, and then it just balloons out. So It's hard to do that. But the issue that I have, you look at some of the names that are out there. Big names like Tyrann Mathieu. I don't think they'll do that at safety, or Jadeveon Clowney or Stephon Gilmore, but. It's like they've got players that they don't want those guys to be progress stoppers as well. I don't think Bobby Wagner is going to stop anyone's progress. So I that's one I could see it. But like they probably look at a guy like Patrick Peterson or Gilmore to say, all right, he comes in here and then does what? Like what does Kelvin Joseph not play? Does Golston not play if we get a Jadeveon?
And that's the funny. We said that last week. I haven't spent a minute thinking about free agent DBs. I haven't even thought about it because they brought back 2 important ones, and I think their corner depth chart is in great shape, regardless of what some people think about Anthony Brown. It's the other ones. Like I don't know what Will Hernandez signed for, and I don't even know if Will Hernandez is good. But he was the 34th overall pick in the same draft as Connor Williams. They liked him coming out, and he started 60 games in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's the type of guy that I would have liked to have seen them bring in.
And that's the type of guy they get.
That is the type of guy they get. That's why really I'm zeroed in on the offensive line, and I'm just like, you're not done here, and you're kind of acting like you are.
Yeah. Well, but I'd be shocked if they don't add some free agent offensive lineman before the draft. I would actually be shocked.
They'll do that.
I would be surprised too, but that goes back to my point. Like pickings are getting slim.
Yeah.
And to bring it back again, this could also be a situation where after the draft, some things change. Maybe somebody drafts a tackle in the first round and cut a guy that's hanging out on the back end. You got to keep all that stuff in mind.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but also if they do add someone from the O-line, it makes me wonder. I'm like, okay, are you at that point adding a body to add a body to kind of back yourself up before getting into draft, or are you actually adding a body that has good experience that will actually be able to contribute on the field?
I think the longer you wait, the more prevalent that question becomes. Yeah. Like the slimmer the pickings get among the free agents, you're like, not to throw guys that have been here under the bus, but like the Cam Flemings and the Cam Irvings of the world, where you're just like, yeah, I mean, you've played, but
Ty and Secchi.
It's what you said about Eric Flowers. He's had a lot of experience, so bring him in. Let's just see what he can do.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just defending here. I think Eric Flowers' resume is, especially since he moved to guard. Yeah, like I'm pulling him up right now. I mean,
he's so bad as a tackle. It was just so bad.
He started.
Sometimes part of that is just kind of getting that out of your mind that he's not a tackle anymore.
He's started 100 games in the league, and he's primarily been. He was a guard for the last 3 years, and he's started every game he's been healthy for 3 straight years. Not saying he's good. Not saying he's good.
But he started.
That is an improvement over the options that they have here behind their top guys. And in the case of the left guard, that's the thing. That is way better than what they have at left guard right now.
Yep. And that's the point that I think needs to be made is that's the kind of signing I think they're going to make, is somebody that's a veteran, may not be the greatest player, but he gives them insurance in the event they can't draft the guy that they want at the time that they want to draft him. He may not be there, or they don't want to be pigeonholed because something falls to them where they like, this other guy's just a much better player at a position we really don't need, but we want to take advantage of it. That's why they'll make that kind of.
I need them to be in a situation where they say, yeah, it would be nice to draft Green, but Jameson Williams is, we've got a whole half round grade better on him, and Flowers can do it for a year, and we'll revisit this in the spring.
And that's their MO. That's how they do it.
The Cowboys have 4 fifth-round picks. I would love if they don't have a 7th rounder. So draft somebody in the 5th and draft another one in the 5th to kind of make up for your 7th that you don't have. But I don't want them drafting 4 guys in the 5th round. I think that is a round where you can trade your pick and get some kind of player in return, and that's what I think could happen. You get
offensive lineman.
You get a guard that's like, we already took a guard, and he's in contract year. He's probably not going to come back next year.
And you might actually get a pretty good player, decent player.
I mean, think about Tavon Austin.
Amari Cooper fetched a 5th. We could get some great players with that.
That's good. There you go.
It's also a $20 million tag.
I know. I'm being a smart ass.
But you got Tavon Austin. I mean, he was good at certain things. Yeah. He was a good punt returner.
I think we all
the spin on that. He's good at some things.
He wasn't great, but he was a speedy punt returner, and he made some plays. Yeah.
No, I would.
It was alarming at times.
It was alarming at times.
I would love to see them do that type of stuff more often.
Flying high, baby.
Rob.
Easy, everybody. Let's not bring too much to the microphone right now.
He was a scary punt returner. He really was.
He absolutely was, yeah.
And I still wish on that Minnesota game where he called fair catch and they said that he shouldn't have called it.
I don't know if there's a game in the time that I've covered this team that pisses me off more than that game.
Minnesota? Yeah.
Dak was just dealing, and they would not let him win the game. They just were terrified of letting the quarterback win the game.
They just ran it, and then, yeah.
Anyway.
Well, let's go back to the draft and talk about some. We've been talking about the O-line. They talked also about the pass rusher situation. That's a priority and all that. But looking at what happened in last year's draft, I believe it was 8 out of their 11 picks that they went with defense, a defensive player, and they really backed that whole area, that side of the ball, very well. Now, is this the year that maybe they could possibly do the same with all the picks that they have, but on the other side of the ball and really reinforce the offense?
Maybe. I mean, you guys just finished talking about it. You want to get a tight end, you want to get a wide receiver, you want to get offensive line help. They could turn this into just an offensive draft and go heavy offense, right?
I don't love that idea. Because I still think, linebacker's not deep, and corner looks good now, but like Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis may not be here for too much longer. Safety, deep pass rusher. I think it's more of a split year. I think this is like, take good players, and at the end of the day, it'll probably be a 5-4 split or maybe 6-3, but it'll be kind of split.
They blew me. Wasn't it 9-2? It was Semi
Yeah.
ball, and
Didn't you say
it was 8-3. You're
Farniak.
right. Farniak. Okay. It was 8-3. But they blew me away when they did that, because that's just not the way draft classes usually work. Like, what are the odds that a defender is your highest grade every time you come up on the clock, or an offensive player for that matter?
Yeah.
So I lean toward thinking no, but I do think an emphasis needs to be placed. Yeah, if you draft 7 guys, if you get rid of a couple of those late picks, 2 offensive linemen, probably a good idea. A receiver, a tight end. I mean, that's 4 right there.
Yeah.
Maybe day. I think this team would be very smart to draft a running back on day 3.
Me too.
So I bet you there will be more offensive players drafted than defensive, but I do still think they'll even it out.
Not Jerome Bettis big, but I need a big running back. I need a bigger guy.
Rashad White.
What team?
Arizona State.
Okay.
I like him a lot.
I think just give me a runner that can run.
He's a big guy.
No, I mean, we're not talking about a slow guy here.
No, when I say run, I mean that can run the ball. Like, I don't care if he's big, little, I don't care. Just, can he play football?
Well, I think he can. Well, yeah, because the reason why I say that is I think, Tony Pollard could come back next year, and then I think you want kind of a complementary type guy to him. And so that's what I'm looking for. I mean, you don't have to get Bo Scarborough in here, but like somebody that's relatively big, that's not a scat back type player, more of a 3-down runner.
You sure you're gonna get Pollard back?
No, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about anything with running back. Zeke might be here for the next 10 years. I don't know.
But that's also why I think I just get me a running back that can play. Like, I don't try to match up because I don't know what's going to happen necessarily, as you start moving down these next couple of years with your running back
I just want
position.
a 3-down running back that start. I don't want another Tony Pollard type right now. I'm not saying they're not valuable. I'm saying I don't need to. Figuring out how to get Tony Pollard the ball was a chore in itself. So I just need another guy that can run the ball. He's going to be your preseason hero. He's going to get 300 rushing yards in the preseason. He's going to look great. That's the guy I want.
Do you think Tony Pollard is a 3-down back?
Yeah.
I do too.
Which 3 downs? Second, third, and fourth? Special teams? No, I don't. Not really. I don't think so.
I wouldn't want Tony Pollard to take the type of workload that Zeke takes, but probably in this day and age, nobody should.
Right.
I think
most don't. Most teams don't.
Tony could probably stand to improve on his pass pro, but also just run him out on a route. And if you think you're going to get decked, there he is. I think he could do it for sure. He's not. Again, we don't need to have this debate right now. But like Zeke brings value in that regard. Just is it enough to offset the explosiveness that you're not getting?
Was Darren Sproles a 3-down back? I don't think he ever was, but man, he killed the Cowboys at times, and he was so valuable in his own way. And so I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying I don't think he should be a 3-down back, but I think they can figure out ways to get him the ball more and be a little bit more dynamic.
Running back, it is not a problem for me right now. And no running back that comes in here is going to be good if you don't fix this O-line
I agree with
right
that.
now.
That's
So they better focus on that first, and then we'll see what falls down the line in those later rounds. We're going to take our final break. When we come back, I do want to talk about the new rule that the NFL approved at the owners' meetings, which is the overtime rule in the playoffs. So we'll discuss that after the break.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching grandma how to video call. and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Back to the break.
Whether you're watching from home or cheering from the stands, Essilor Lenses will let you see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and find the perfect Essilor lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Well,
jeez.
It's okay. Welcome back to the break. Wanted to get you guys' opinion on this new rule that they approved, which is it would only happen in playoffs. And I thought that Stephen Jones' quote was actually pretty interesting because I never actually thought of this stat, but he basically said that every team and the team that wins the toss is 10-2 in the playoffs as far as wins. So pretty interesting data there.
10-2 with 7 of the 10 wins coming on the first possession of the game.
Since 2010.
Yeah.
So
pretty compelling information right there.
Yeah. So I've heard different kinds of opinions. People that hate this rule and don't think it's very good. Some others that are kind of okay with it. So what are y'all's thought on it?
I don't mind the rule. I don't. Here's what I don't like. I don't like one game changing it. And I feel like that's sort of what happened because then in the AFC Championship game, the week later, it didn't really affect it. My biggest issue is that I just hate rules for playoffs but not regular season. I've seen the Cowboys in 2011, 12, and 13 play Week 17 with the game on the line, the season on the line, win the division or you go home. That game sounds like a playoff game to me. And then you're telling me that it's different because of, now the overtime is different because it's not a playoff game. If I don't win this game, I'm going fishing tomorrow. So it matters. I mean, I just don't understand. It's all about TV ratings or not ratings. It's TV time slots and making sure that games don't overlap and go too far. But I don't know.
I mean, that's not new though. I mean, hockey changes the overtime rule in the playoffs. If you're
wouldn't know.
If you're tied after overtime in hockey, you go to a shootout and the winner gets more points than the loser. Like, I think the loser winds up getting a point for getting to a shootout and the winner gets an extra point. And then in overtime or in the playoffs, you just play overtime until somebody wins.
I mean, that's a terrible example.
Why?
Because they play 82 hockey games. If you haven't figured it out in the regular season, then you're not good enough to go in the playoffs. But in 16 or 17 games, I think the regular season matters more in the NFL than any other sport. So that's why I think that I wouldn't change the rules. I think NFL games in December are almost like playoff games, and you shouldn't change the rule for it.
I don't care about. It's you have the whole game.
Yeah,
and then you still have a chance to stop the guy. And I mean, for that, I don't think the rule needed to be changed. I mean, the way that the league is so pass happy, it's nice to give the other team a chance. I mean. Yeah, like Pat Mahomes is going to go down and score. Josh Allen probably would have too. I disagree, though. Like, I love that the league saw a concrete example and was like, this might be broken. Maybe we should fix it. How long did we have to wait for them to change the Dez rule after the Dez game? Where, like, I was thinking about that yesterday talking to Steven. The Bills-Chiefs game happens, and then, 2 months later, everybody's like, this has to be fixed.
Well, this has been a conversation, though, for a few years.
It has. It felt like for a while after the Cowboy Packer game, everybody was like, "Shut up, Cowboys! Like, we get it. You're upset about the catch rule. Nobody cares." And then it finally got changed after that. I thought it was nice to see the league identify a problem and do something about it. I don't know. I don't care. Like, how often has it come up where this? I guess it's 10 times since 2010. So every other postseason. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I wasn't as upset as everybody else in the rule. Like, I thought, I get it. And I thought the current rule does give you a chance to make sure that, like, you can't lose on a field goal. So if you let them go all the way down the field and score a touchdown, you had a chance to stop them. You didn't, and you lost the game. Like, I wasn't as crazy about this one as everybody else that it needed to be changed.
But I'm not mad about more drama. Yeah. Like that game
Give me more football.
That game is as much fun as I've had watching football in a long time. And if you had told me Josh Allen would have gotten the ball back, I'm okay with that. I'd love to watch him try to tie that game. So yeah, that's fine.
Especially how this postseason went last year. I mean, a lot of crazy games, but they all came down to those last quarter, those last few minutes where it actually got intense, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen after playing 3 whole quarters of nonsense, basically terrible football.
I guess what I'm saying too is and I don't know this yet, but does the strategy change? Do you want the ball second now? I think you do.
Yeah, because you may know what you need to do. It's kind of like college, right?
And also, if you stop them, you're getting the ball, so might as well stop them, and maybe you punt and you get the ball at midfield, and all you need at that point is a field goal. Yeah. So that's what my point is. I don't think football strategy should change in week 18 of the season, and then the next week it changes. It completely changes because now you're in the playoffs and you're not, even though it was a win or go home mentality. And same with baseball, which I don't really watch that too. I mean, why is there 2 extra umpires in the outfield just for the playoff games? If it's needed, then do it. Do it. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
So you would take the ball second now?
I would take the ball second.
Just like college.
Yeah.
Because you can't lose on an offensive score. Yeah, I would take it second.
Take the wind.
If it's a need, yeah. I mean, if that's a factor, sure. Wind. I mean, I thought it was a factor in New England. I thought New England won the toss, and the Cowboys played that game. The way the wind was, I was like, this works out good. I remember telling Dave and Rob that. I was like, this is actually a good thing because, was Mac Jones going to get another miracle-type play and score a touchdown? Mm-hmm. Probably not. They're going to punt into the wind. Cowboys are going to get it and go get a field goal or a touchdown. And so that was a case where, weather always is a factor up there, it seems like.
My hopes for this season were so high at that game.
And just
it's as good as I've ever felt about a Cowboy team.
But then it was like, this is great. Like nothing is wrong with the world. Even it's raining on us, and this is great. This Cowboys team is really good. Why is Dak limping? Is everything okay? He's kind of grimacing there. That doesn't look good. Yeah. He'll be fine. They got a bye week.
That was the thing. Oh, he'll be fine.
And they got a bye week.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
They're good. And he was healthy after that, but it changed a lot.
Well, everything changed. Like I still don't know how did that affect it.
No.
Did the chemistry go away because he was out for a week?
I'll take that back. I felt better about the team the next week when they beat the Vikings with Cooper Rush. I was like, okay, now this team.
Well, we're rolling now.
They can't get beat.
If they can win with Cooper Rush, then they're ready.
That's to bring it. Which we're running out of time, but these are the things I think about where I'm just like that they wound up being disappointing.
Yeah.
And they're not better than they were then now. And they probably won't be. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say they probably won't be. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Well, to wrap up the show and wrap up some of the things, or summarize some of the things that we talked about, which as far as needs and all that. If the Cowboys had to play a game tonight and you had a choice to reinforce 3 positions, only 3. What would those 3 positions be?
I could just get better than what we've got right now.
How?
We're playing tonight.
With a draft pick? I mean, can I call Randy? Hey, can you do us a solid for one week, for one night?
This is an easy question. This is a really easy question, guys. Yeah, we've already said it. It's center, it's guard, it's wide receiver. Those are right now. Those are positions you need help with.
Left guard, wide receiver, defensive end.
More than center?
Yeah. If this is the hypothetical,
so you really don't like these defensive ends. You don't think that
he just doesn't.
I think they're comparable. I think Randy is I think Randy being given a little bit too much credit here.
Center, though. He doesn't have a problem with center as much, and that's really what it comes down to. That's not. I bet if it was the 4th position, you might say center.
You might,
but that's okay. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I noticed that when we were talking earlier. Just and I said it. If he's going to continue to get better, I'm not seeing as much. I'll put guard. For me, it'd be guard, center, and linebacker. Maybe.
So you guys, if we were playing a game tonight, you guys feel like wide receiver's fine.
I said receiver.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You nicked it.
I'm terrified of this receiver core, as it's especially if we're playing tonight.
Yeah, like
receiver's number one.
Be out there.
Hold on. Can Gallup stiff arm with crutches? Like if you can stiff arm, then yes. That's
you talking about last Boy Scout pull out a gun while you're running? Like what are we talking about?
You
can't have
got
a weapon.
Washington, you got CeeDee Lamb, you got Noah Brown.
Okay, receiver. Receiver, guard, center.
Okay.
Defense.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's what I
Dan
look
Quinn.
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
You can do it.
And that's part of this thing. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
They thought he figured it out last year, and they're gonna let him figure.
And
it out.
I trust him to figure it out. Like
You
what
good
he
with
did with this
points?
what he did with this defense.
Oh,
that's actually a good one. Yeah. Actually,
Eric?
let's take the center
they got
out.
a guy.
Let's take the center out
got a
and
guy.
let's go with the guard. Let's go with the kicker and let's go with the wide receiver.
We're joking right now, and it's not even April yet, so I get it, but. They are putting a lot of pressure on their personnel department the way that this is.
All the time, though, right?
Well, it hasn't worked, and it's at some point it starts being unfair, in my opinion, where you're like, "Man, you guys do such a great job. Do it again." Man, you guys did a great job
I love
again.
you guys.
Do it again. Do it again. We don't want to pay
Show me
these
again.
big
Show me again.
contracts. Yeah, I just
when you say hasn't worked, are you saying like the fans say they haven't had another trophy? In
no.
26
They
years?
okay. You're right.
I'm just asking. Like, what do you mean by it hasn't worked?
They have. Well, actually, I'll take the words right out of Will McClay's mouth. It's like it's not good enough because we're not accomplishing our goals. Yeah, I mean, and they are again even more like you can't put everything on the Super Bowl because there's so much randomness that goes into that. But like, barring a minor miracle, I don't think they're going to be a better team than they were last year, and that's what it's about. I know you got to worry about like the next 3 years, the next 4 years. I think it's still reasonable to expect them to be trying to take a step forward in 2022, and I don't feel like they're doing that. I could be wrong. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
mainly because they lost Amari and Randy and haven't replaced that level.
And it's you can take the names out of it. Like the production and talent that they've lost is more than what they've added in, and I don't think 9 draft picks is enough to replenish that right away. You know. The last 2 drafts have been about as much as you could ask for.
Yeah.
And you got like one immediate impact player per class in both of those. And that goes back to my point. Like, yeah, you found CD, you found Micah. Everybody's human. This thing is really, really hard. Like, they're going to slip at some point, probably. They drafted Taco. They'll probably do it again. Yeah. And that's not a knock on Will and his guys. That's just the reality of the draft. And so it puts a lot of pressure on him.
That is true. You tend to rely so much on like, oh, Will McClay, he's so great at his job, but the Taco Charlton, and the other players that you're not always gonna get them right.
Really hard to consistently get them right.
Being great at that job probably means you hit 50% of the time. Like this is not a high percentage type thing to be great at drafting players. Like nobody drafts 100%. Like nobody's gonna hit on every draft pick. So that's the nature of just that job in general. Like you're gonna miss. You're gonna miss. It's just a part of it.
And that's like I said, by and large, I think their strategy is right in general. But you can't count so much on that, in my opinion, and they refuse to agree with me about that.
I think though, honestly, like if this was a football game, I think we're still in the first quarter of how this game is going to go. Because I think we sit here in Oxnard, if we're all there, and hopefully we all are in Oxnard in a week,
looking good.
Yeah, like a week into Oxnard, I'd like to see like, is this team? You think it's better because of all the stuff that's happened draft wise? They got more free agency guys to sign, cut, trades, whatever. Now we'll look at. We've seen it for about a week now. What do we really think? Because this team won games without D-Law and Randy. They won games. They figured out on defense. Without Amari, we'll see. I mean that's a question.
Yeah.
CD's going to have to take that leap. He's got to be that guy. And if he is, and then some of the other guys can help, then they might have a chance there. I'm not ready to say that they've taken a step back yet because I just still think we're way too early in the game. But looking at it now, they haven't replaced it yet, so you have to say that.
and that's another reference that did upset me from Mike McCarthy, was like, we haven't gotten to the fourth quarter just yet in free agency. I'm like, oh my God, well, it doesn't always work out for y'all in the fourth quarter, but.
Whoa!
It doesn't.
You're not wrong.
It doesn't.
No,
Sometimes
you're not wrong.
They struggle
Not
so
always.
much first, second, and third that whatever happened in the fourth quarter doesn't matter.
Wow, that's a hell of an analogy right there.
What's happened. So, yeah. So there's two ways to look at it.
Yeah. All right, well, Derek, I'll let you do the honors.
Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you later. Bless.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. I'll take it.
Dang.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?